everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lina and this is Library of Diamonds, and as you can see, this is a completed diamond painting. So this is going to be my pose review for this one in particular. So here I have my logbook. I am starting to put some washi, like the washi that I used in the canvas. Yeah, I just thought it was okay to go. So this one is called Fishing Spells, and it is from Diamond Artisan Shop. This is the very first time that I work on one of their paintings. They were really kind on by sending this over a couple of months ago. I did an unboxing and I cannot say enough, like good enough things about this. I just loved everything about it. But let me go first with the stats. So this was a 50 by 75 centimeters. They were round drills. This was my 4th finish for the month of March and my 12th finish for the month of 2025. I'm sorry, for the year 2025, and my 63rd finish overall. It took me 22 hours and 43 minutes. It had a total amount of drills of 49,848. I started this one on March 7th and I finished it on the 18th. And the day that I'm recording this is on the 19th, so I just finished it yesterday. This one had a total of 64 colors with 3 ABs. One that I'm not entirely sure on how this shop calls it, but it's like a fairy dust-ish type of color. You know what I mean? But yeah. Oh yeah, I was missing another. And one crystal. You guys, I cannot say enough good things about this canvas. I started this one here at the bottom, and I did first this entire first row. I did kind of like a tall rows. The first row is all the way here. So all of these stars at the bottom, I was able to complete during the first couple of days that I worked on this. And oh my God, like looking really close to it, it's always a case with me, at least, that I am not entirely sure on why there's this change in colors and why they're using this or that. But obviously I'm not an artist. I have no idea of how these things are done. But just looking at the way the detail pops out once you take like a step back, I just loved it, loved it, loved it. Now, one of the special drills, one of the ABs is used in here. And once again, at the beginning, I was like, this is maybe too stark of a color to put in the water. Maybe it doesn't fit right. Or guys, I ate my words. 1000%. I ate my words. I loved it. One of the things that was kind of interesting for me is that the ratio of the image was kind of like wacky. I think like it's like a thin and very tall, because it's 50 centimeters by 75. Usually, I like if it's 75 tall, I typically see them being like, I don't know, 60 centimeters wide. You know, I'm getting a little bit closer to a square, but this is like a very rectangular long piece. It was just an interesting thing for me. But now I'm gonna try to go in order on the things that I love. So yeah, the first thing that I loved was this one. After I finished the first 2 rows here, I decided that I was gonna leave this middle part for the end, because it's where the majority of the details are. You know, we have the witch, we have the bag of stars, you know, kind of like the focal point, if you will, or at least in my opinion. And oh my God, I just noticed that I didn't put these drills on. I'm gonna put them back in a little bit. But yes, the second thing was, the next row I did was this one on top, and it was until here. So I did pretty much all of the blue with some sparkles here, like with some drills like of the purpley and stuff. And just the way that this is blended, you can see it in the screen, I think, and I hope. Let me get you a bit closer to it. I don't know how good and how well you can see it on screen, but the colors that were used here and the blending of them, I just thought was magnificent. I loved the smoothness of it, and I really, really loved working on it. Even looking really closely into it, I could already see the transitions being made, and like whoever did this rendering, it's just a fantastic rendering. Just the color, the transition is seamless. It's really, really honestly seamless. And then we go into the next section, the next row that I did, which was all this way. So it was a bit strange at the beginning, for me at least, you know, having such a stark differences in color, because I don't remember exactly what the overall image is. So I don't know if these are like either clouds or maybe mountains. I'm not entirely sure of that, but once you see the image, like the original image, I think they're clouds. You can see the transition here made with the colors. I just think it was really, really greatly made. One thing that I didn't entirely loved about it was this one. I don't think this AB color in particular was the best choice for it. And also in this section over here, the stark difference between these kind of browny pinkish colors and these purple surrounding it, I think that the transition is too stark, because this is a section that's meant to be. For the rest, I don't think, like, even if it's a bit stark, I think it comes along a little bit better. But this section, it was not my favorite. But overall, really, I didn't really mind. Other thing that I loved about it is, like, you can see how you have these little streaks of color over here, and I'm missing some drills there, I'm sorry. And we can see them also here a little bit down as well. These are the shooting stars. These are the shooting stars from here. I just loved it. I really, really loved the details. And this is one of those paintings, when I look at it really closely, I'm not crazy about it. I don't like super love it, but this is one that, like, you're meant to see from afar. I think just pixel art and diamond paintings are made to be looked more from afar, but I guess that while we're doing the diamond painting, we also are so close into the painting. At least I am. I always I'm stuck like really, really close to the canvas. But Jesus, I just really, really liked that. Now, one thing that happened that was really interesting for me is that over here, I don't know if you can see that. I don't think so. But over here, yeah. I tried to use glue, but it was not the best. Oh, and some crooked drills. But when I lifted up this section to work on it, what I typically do is that I cut the paper, like the transparent paper. I cut it, and then I usually leave like maybe a millimeter between the edge of the paper and where like the edge of the specific diamond that I'm gonna place in there. I don't know if I'm explaining correctly, but long story short, there's a little piece of tape that is always getting like in the paper, but also on top of the glue. But I have never had an issue. I've had any issues when I take that off and a little bit pieces of washi tape get stuck into the canvas, because there's like glue with glue someone's gonna give, and it's usually the washi tape that gives. But in this occasion, I'm gonna try to look for the picture, but I lifted the paper, and at the beginning I thought that a piece of washi tape had stuck on it, because I just saw like a little white part in here. I was like, oh, it's just like, I'm just gonna take it with the tweezers. But when I got into it and tried to take it out with the tweezers, I realized that no, it was not a piece of washi tape that was stuck on it. It was a piece of canvas that had come off. And the thing that's kind of the reason why I had to use some glue here, because like the piece of the canvas came off, and with that canvas, you know, the glue is on the canvas, and then the canvas just came off. So I had a little, just the tiniest section where I didn't have glue or canvas. So that was the very first time that happened. I don't know if because of the weather, maybe the glue got stickier, and maybe the washi tape that I'm using is like super strong. I'm not entirely sure, but that is the first time that has ever happened to me. Like, I am almost 2 years into diamond painting, and I think that's the very first time and only time that has happened to me. But, you know, I really don't count it like against this diamond painting in particular, because it really was not that big of an issue. And, you know, it is so rare that I'm not gonna count it like, or hold it against it, if you will. Let me go back then. A little bit farther away, and the last thing was this middle section, the witch with the book and all of these. I really liked like the combinations of colors used with this one, because it was not just like the yellows and the crystally looking one, but also kind of like peachy orangey colors. But I don't think there's enough you know, I don't think there's enough clarity on what is there. I mean, you know that those are stars once you take a look at it from, you know, from the image under the boat. But that's the way, like, you know that they're there. Because when you look directly at the image, they, even though it's kind of hard to pick them apart, you're still able to see, you know, when, like, the corners and like the framework of all of like the individual stars, and that didn't happen here. And I know it might be kind of tricky to do because there are many small stars in a very small section, and for us to be able to have more of that definition, this image would have to be so much bigger. And talking about that, I thought it was going to bother me, the fact that in her face and like the overall witch was not going to be detailed enough. If you can see, like, her face is just a couple of drills here and there. But once again, I thought it was going to be bothering me a little bit more, but in reality, that was not the case at all. I think that, you know, the artwork, you know, for us to be able to have more details on the witch herself, I think it would have been like, it would have to be like at least twice bigger, just because of how small her features are compared with the rest of the painting. But again, that would have also made like all the surrounding much work and much color blocking, and I would say even boring at times, because other than this middle section and some parts on the stars under here, it's pretty much all color blocking. And I actually enjoy color blocking a lot. It doesn't, at least for me, it's not something that I hate or dislike or something like that. I don't really mind it, but I like it to be a mix of things. Like, I worked on the bottom part and it had enough like color blocking and confetti, and then at the top it had a lot of color blocking, but I didn't mind it because I knew that my last part that I was going to work on was going to be this middle part. But you know, if we blew it bigger, then that would kind of interfere with the ratio, and maybe that would have made it a little bit, yeah, not so enjoyable for me personally, at least. Now, for one last thing, let's go over to the drills. So here I have the leftover drills. I have to say that there was not one single color that I was ever afraid of running out of. Actually, when I kitted up in these ones, there were some colors that had so many drills on them that I had to put the baggies to the side and then fill them up like later as I use them up. One of these examples, I think, was like this blue and this other one. And I actually even... And for example, for this one, you might see that there's a very small amount of drills left in here. But once again, I was not afraid because I still had these baggies of this exact color. So I just didn't want to open them unnecessarily. So yeah. For the amount of trash, you can see that this was all the trash that I had with that. So it's not very that much. Also, for round diamond paintings, I am not as picky with trash regarding like the shape of it, even if it's had some tabs or tacks on the sides. Since you have much more space and wiggle room to put them on, sometimes I am more forgiving with those. What I was a bit less forgiving with were the ones that were like kind of like that had like a hole on top of them, or you know, something like that. So there were not very many trash drills in here, which is also really great. And now let's go over to the special drills. This particular diamond painting had one like crystal color. I said metallic earlier, I think, but no, or I don't know. But this is like a crystal color. These are 3 ABs. And this is like what, you know, other companies would call like something dusty, you know, is a drill that has like very fine glitter on top, kind of like a mica glitter on top. So let's go to see where these are placed. And actually for this painting, these are very simple. It's very easy for me to tell where these drills are placed, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and do that. For this one, we can very easily tell that all of these are on all the details in the stars in here, and also in the stars down this part. Like, there are a lot of there are different combinations of yellowish and orangish, but kind of like a specific part of the stars, we also see this one. Now, starting with the ABs, now that I'm here, I'm gonna pointing out to these blue AB. This one was used to give kind of like more depth, I think, and not volume, like the 3D kind of feeling to it, like dimension. That's what that's the word that I was looking for. We can see that we have this like streaks horizontally all the way, like in all of the places of the water. And it might look weird at the beginning, because it looked weird for me at the beginning. But once again, once I take a look at it, like and step back from it, I love the image that it gives. Now for the next one that we're here again, this is a yellow AB, and this yellow AB we're also are going to find it in the stars, like everywhere where you see like this crystally color, the color that follows, like the crystal color usually at the very, very center. So the next color that we see like next to it going outside, it's most likely this AB, and we can see it also a lot in here, like next to these ones. There's always, or at least almost always, going to be an AB. Now the AB that I didn't like as much would be this purple over here, this one. This was in all of these like outer parts, and kind of like, I don't know if it's like the illusion of having light, or I don't know, it was not my favorite. That's all I'm gonna say. And the last one was this one. This is like a very browny one, and we can see it like all of this color, that is that kind of dusty color on it. So yeah. And one last comment that I would have to say is that I didn't have any issues with the glue, other than this little section that, came off, but I didn't have any issues with like the glue or the canvas. It was a very sturdy canvas. I never was afraid of running out of drills. I had plenty of them for every single color. And yeah, honestly, I am so happy that I was able to get to work on this one when I did, because I loved it. I really enjoyed it so much. I am definitely keeping this diamond painting shop on top of my list of, hopefully soon to buy from them. I don't know when exactly, but if there is something that I see from there that I just have this very like strong urge, I will definitely get more from them, because in my opinion, they're totally worth it. I loved every single second of it, and I finished it so quickly. And I think that kind of attests to me wanting to work on this all the time. Like I finished it in under 2 weeks, which is like a fairly, like more like a medium size diamond painting in general, but I just adored every second of it. So yeah, guys, I hope that this post review was helpful enough. If you have this in your stash, or any other diamond painting of this company in your stash, and you're, wondering on whether or not you would like to work on it, or kind of double guessing, like second guessing whether or not it's going to be, quality, if you're going to enjoy it, I hope that is the case for you. But, it was definitely the case for me. So yeah, I hope that, as I said, I hope that this review was helpful for you if you are in any of those situations, so you can just jump into working on one of these canvases. Please let me know down below if you have ever tried anything from this shop in particular, or if there's anything in your stash currently from this shop that you were just dying to get to. And yeah, I hope that you keep having a great and fantastic rest of your day whenever it is that you're watching this. And as I always say, do not forget to keep on diamond painting. Bye bye.